Slow news day on the Jet Beat. Frankie from Flatbush reporting from Frankie from Flatbush headquarters. Not a lot going on today. Today is Tuesday, March the 18th, 2025, 17:29 hours. Frankie reporting. The biggest news in Jetland today was that free agent wide receiver Rondale Moore visited the Jets today. So he's was injured last year, did not play, had a knee injury in August, but was a second round pick, sort of a small wide receiver, maybe a gadget type. But a lot of hype around Rondell Moore. Never really lived up to the hype that he had coming into the league, but still only 24 years old, second round pick. So maybe it's another one of these players we take a flyer on. Maybe we hit something. So that's kind of an interesting news item, but he didn't sign with the Jets. He just visited us today. So, and also former Jets wide receiver Derrick Nnadi, who played with the team from 78 to 84, has unfortunately passed away. He was 69. Gaffney was an eighth round pick out of Florida when they had way more draft choices. Had 156 receptions in his career. So rest in peace to Mr. Gaffney, and heartfelt sorrow goes out to his family. Always a bummer to lose one of the alumni. But with the slow news day, what are we going to talk about, Frankie? Well, we're going to talk about the worst moves so far in free agency that the Jets have made. And then tomorrow, I'll do another video about the best moves that they made. How about that? You get a twofer. And before we get into all this, though, I will say please subscribe to the channel. We have a goal here of getting up to 1,000 subscribers. We're a long way from that. But if you would click the subscribe button, that would help us tremendously. So think about that. If you don't want to do that, how about a like, a thumbs up on the video? That would be appreciated. And if you want to go the extra mile, maybe consider joining the inner circle where you get exclusive items, including the Frankie from Flatbush theme song as an MP3 that you can put on your playlist and play wherever you want. People really like that song. You can get it for free. You can get it as part of your membership of the Inner Circle. That's $5 a month. Click the join button down below. Now, that being said, let's see, what are these worst moves anyway? Well, let's do a little share screeny. Share screeny. Diana Dushini. Worst free agency moves so far. Number 5. We're going to do a top 5. Jay Tufele. Who the hell is Jay Tufele? This guy. Let's look at his career. Now, we're not going to do a film study on him, but look at these numbers. No bueno. It was kind of just a below average when he came into the league, and he's only gotten worse. These are very bad numbers. He was one of the worst defensive tackles in all of football last year, including a 17.6% missed tackle rate. No bueno. So I'm hoping this guy is just a 90-man roster guy and he doesn't make it to the 53-man. No bueno at all. All right, number 2, Byron Cowart. Here's old Byron. Now, Byron's a little bit better than Tufele, but he was drafted by Bill Belichick in New England, couldn't make anything out of him, released him after 2 years. He went to Indianapolis, played even worse, then made a little bit of a comeback in Chicago. He was coached by Eric Washington, our defensive line coach, so maybe we could get something out of him. He's still young. He did have a bounce-back season and probably, second best. Well, he only played 43 snaps his rookie year, but probably his best season as a pro last year, so maybe he found something. He did have some stats. He had 3 sacks, 7 hurries, and so forth. But here's the number that concerns me. 17.2% missed tackle rate. No bueno. Poor tackling. And as we all know, that was one of the Jets' problems last year on defense. No bueno. So I'm hoping this guy, if anything, maybe he's defensive tackle 5 and is inactive on game days. That's what I'm hoping for Byron. But as it stands now, he's in the rotation, and so that gets number 4 worst move. Then Derrick Nnadi. Now, some people might say this is a good signing. What are you talking about, Frankie? Well, this is a guy who used to be good. Came into the league and was solid for the Kansas City Chiefs. He comes over from the Chiefs. He's got a winning pedigree, but the last 4 years has been bad. Just take a look at it. Now, his missed tackle rates are not as bad as the other 2. So I expect Nnadi to have a role on the team, maybe defensive tackle 4, hopefully, or 3, or something like that. But he's not the same as he used to be. Just look at the numbers. We're not going to do a film study on these people. That would take forever. Maybe Joe Blewett can do it. not me. But we're just going to use PFF as our shortcut because that's what PFF's good for. I mean, this guy has fallen off considerably. Used to be in the 60s, 70s, he used to be average, above average. Now he's way below average. I mean, these are terrible numbers for 3 years in a row now. There's really nothing to like here, honestly, except he used to be okay 4 fucking years ago. That's not that's not good. This is not a good signing, but people are hyping it up, saying, "Hey, they remember when he came into the league, and hey, he's with Kansas City. They won a lot, so maybe he's a winner." It's like, no, he was just on the team. Like it's not the reason they're a winner. Now he contributed, he played, all right. He's pretty durable, I guess you could say. Maybe that's something, but he's not good. So that is not a good move. I'm not happy with these defensive tackle moves. I've been preaching from day one. I've been yelling from the rooftops, wherever you yell from, the treetops, the rooftops, yelling my lungs out. Nobody will listen to me. Ever since we got rid of JFM, defensive tackle is a problem, problem, problem. Danger, Will Robinson, danger, Will Robinson, and nobody will listen to me. And we did nothing to address it last year. And so far, these moves, these three right here, no bueno. So I'm not happy about it. We got to keep addressing it. Maybe we got more moves coming, but this is the worst moves so far. Now, if these guys are roster fringe, okay, no problem. When it's all said and done, maybe we double dip in the draft, whatever it may be. But as of right now, these are three bad moves, three of the worst moves. Now, like I said, if they're just 90-man filler and they get cut, okay, great. That means we got guys ahead of them. Now, a guy that's not going to get cut is Brandon Stephens. So Brandon Stephens, here's an article from the Ebony Bird, fan-sided site. Ravens deliver hard truth about starting cornerback's future in Baltimore. One of the things that concerns me is when good teams let guys go. That concerns me because Eric DeCosta is not a moron. If Baltimore Raven fans were waiting for some sugarcoating about Brandon Stephens' future in Baltimore, General Manager Eric DeCosta, also known as EDC, clearly didn't get the memo. During his postseason pressure, DeCosta spoke candidly about Stephens, and while the words sounded complimentary on the surface, the subtext was impossible to ignore. Stephens is likely on his way out, and now we know he went to us. Look, the numbers tell the story. PFF coverage grade this season was a whopping 50.7. No bueno. Ranking him 175th out of 223 corners. Not exactly the stuff you'd like to highlight on a resume. Or anywhere else for that matter. Add in the fact that he gave up 72 catches for 926 yards and 5 touchdowns, and it's clear opposing offenses saw Stephens as the clear defensive back to target relentlessly. His performance, let's just say it left a lot to be desired. EDC didn't trash Stephens by any means, but his comments had all the subtlety of a breakup text. B. Steve is a great pro, an awesome attitude, a great teammate. Okay, that's good. He'd probably say he didn't have as good a year this year, but his attitude never wavered. Translation, nice guy, not cutting it on the field. Kind of like Solomon Thomas, for example. It's time for the Ravens to move on from Brandon Stephens. The real kicker came when he did a free agent, so there's a lot of pressure on him in his mind. We'll have to see what happens with him. He's probably going to have a chance to test the market and see what his value is. That's the NFL equivalent of it's not you, it's me, only we all know it's you, Brendan. So, and they got Wiggins and this and that. But the main idea here is, when Eric DeCosta and the Baltimore Ravens say, you're not good enough, what? We're going to fix him? Now, you look at the film. Now, we're going to see if this works here. This is one play, but I thought it kind of summed up a little bit of what. Now, this isn't going to work because this is coming in a little blurry, but he's down here. He's covering the tight end, Kelsey, and he does a good job initially. Now he's a corner covering a tight end. Guy goes in motion, so according to their rules, now he's got Kelsey. Okay, so far so good. Mahomes goes back. So far so good. He doesn't switch. He stays on him. So far so good. And Mahomes does his thing, dancing around. The thing he does. So far so good. And now he gets lost. After all of that, he gets lost and he gets burned. But is that terrible coverage? It's really not. It was good all the way through, and Mahomes extends the play. You cannot expect defensive backs to cover a guy, especially as good as Kelsey is, for 5 seconds, 6 seconds. I mean, that's not realistic with the way Kelsey moves and some of these wide receivers move. So that's an example where, yeah, he gave up the yardage, and yeah, you're going to have to ding him, and yeah, the stats are going to look bad. But if that's a lot of what it was, you got to hope that we're going to have a better pass rush than that. And you're not going to make the defensive backs cover for 5, 6 seconds because that's unrealistic. So we'll have to see with this guy. And you saw the movement, you saw his body movement on that. I mean, if we want to take another look, we could keep playing this. I mean, but you saw the way he moves and why you might be optimistic about this guy because now he's going to be over here. Is because look at how fluid he moves, and he's 6'1". Okay, he's not a small dude, so he has length and he has long arms, and he moves really well. Now you can't really see it here because we're on Mahomes, but look what Mahomes is doing. All right, you can't really see it from that angle, but he gets lost in the sauce there. But he hung with him for a good long while, and so you could see why the Jets made this move. But the problem with the Brandon Stevens signing is we guaranteed the man $24 million. It's probably, we haven't seen the contract, but it's probably a 2-year, $24 million deal guaranteed. So that's $12 million a year. That's a lot of money for a guy with a lot of questions, even though he has a lot of potential. I would have liked this signing a lot better if it was 2 years, 14 million, 15 million. But it was 2 years, 24 million, as far as we know. But it was reported as 3 for 36 with 24 guaranteed. So it's probably 2 for 24 guaranteed, 12 a year or so. Depends how they split it up. We'll see what the cash versus cap is. But either way, it's $24 million guaranteed to a guy who basically has 2 years of starting experience. 1 year he was above average. The next year he was below average. And if you talk to Ravens fans, they say, great, we got rid of this guy. He always gets burned. He doesn't know how to turn his head. Yeah, he's athletic. He's a decent tackler for a cornerback, and he's pretty good at blitzing. But when it comes to coverage, he doesn't turn his head, and he gets called for penalties, and he loses the ball. In other words, he doesn't have ball skills. That's what they say. And that's important for a cornerback. So I think as of right now, that's my opinion about the second worst move just because of the size of the contract. Again, if this was a 2-year, 14, 15, it would be a good signing because you're not committing a lot of money to a guy and you're taking a chance. All right. We could have signed Brandon Eccles for a lot less. We could have signed, a lot of people. We chose this guy. So we'll see. And again, maybe Dre Bly and Charles Harris and Steve Wilkes and Aaron Glenn can turn this guy into something better than what he was. All right. Telling me the Baltimore Ravens don't know how to coach defensive backs? Okay. But the number one worst signing clearly was Chuks Okorafor. Now, Chuks, that's what they call him. I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm very familiar with this guy, Okorafor. And I'm not from Pittsburgh. Restate. I lived in Pittsburgh for 6 years. So I've heard this guy's name a lot. And they call him Chuks. Here it is here it is in the headline, Chuks. And even when he was in Pittsburgh, he was a malcontent. Okay, Steelers Okorafor second guesses re-signing in Pittsburgh. Even remember, he got benched not last year, the year before that, when they drafted the right tackle, that they took right before we got Spinny McWhinney, Will McDonald. Well, that guy didn't start right away. Okorafor did, but then he took over for him, Jones. Okorafor, no more. If I knew that was going to be the case, I probably wouldn't have chosen to come back here, Okorafor told reporters when asked how he felt about not playing for most of 2023. But at that point, the benching, there was nothing I could do about it. And so he got benched by Pittsburgh, and then he got benched and taken out of the game by the Patriots the next year. I have no clue what is going to happen next year, he said. I wish I could tell you guys, blah, blah, blah. You rarely cut 26-year-old tackles that are serviceable in this league, but when things are no longer cordial, So even the Pittsburgh Steelers wanted to get rid of this guy. Again, the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, these are not bum franchises that never win anything, okay? Like us. Here we are cutting. This guy's being cut by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and things are no longer cordial. And he's not happy about. He's seemingly jaded. Seemingly jaded. It's better for everyone to cut ties and go their separate ways. So the Patriots needed desperately offensive linemen, and they signed him. So that would seem like a good bet. Like, okay, this guy got benched for the rookie. We're the Patriots. That time with Gerard Mayo, we need offensive linemen desperately. Let's take a look. So they get him, and what happens? They place him on the exempt left squad list following week one benching. So he gets benched in the middle of the season for the Steelers for the rookie. And you go, all right, well, they like the rookie. What's the big deal? They like the rookie better than this guy. All right. So he signs a deal with the Patriots. Then he gets benched again and he leaves the squad. He's a quitter. The New England Patriots announced Saturday that the team has placed Chuks Okorafor on the exempt left squad list. This maneuver comes almost exactly 1 week after he was benched, where he started left tackle. Okorafor signed a 1-year deal, was looked at as a candidate to start at the blindside tackle upon arrival, despite not playing the left side during his NFL career. And so he played very poorly in 12 snaps in the first game, and then he got benched. So he had some challenges, Mayo said. Yeah, I'd say so. And we'll have to see. So then he didn't play the entire rest of the year. So he missed basically a whole year. This is the sequence: benched by the Steelers and a lot of a lot of problems there. Goes to the Patriots, plays 12 snaps, benched, does not play the entire season, gets put on the left squad list, and then we've signed him. So I'm going to put an asterisk on this and say, look, unless there's something we don't know, something comes out about what happened, a family tragedy or something along those lines, I'll take back what I'm saying now. But I can't have a quitter on my team, period. Sorry. I mean, the guy goes from benching to quitting. This is that's terrible. You cannot have quitters on the team, especially as we're trying to build the culture here. This goes against everything AG has told us about the culture he wants to build. We're going to hire a quitter. In the meantime, firing a captain like C.J. Mosley. We tell C.J. Mosley, get the hell out of here, and we bring in this guy? What? What kind of a culture is that? Now, like I said, maybe there's more to the story, and I'll put an asterisk on this. Maybe we'll learn something about Chuks that we didn't know. Okay. But based on all the information we do know now, this is a terrible, terrible signing that should not have been made. And again, maybe it'll be a non-story because he doesn't even make the team. It was just a 90-man roster filler. We took a flyer on a guy who used to be a starter. We're going to move him to the right side, and we maybe can think we can get a backup out of it. All right, but he's still a quitter in my book. So, and a malcontent for two teams now. And these are not loser franchises. The Patriots have 6 rings the last time I checked, and the Steelers have 5 or 6 themselves. So we're sitting here with 1, and they're the ones who said get out of here to a 26, 27-year-old starting level talent tackle. They couldn't deal with him. Well, we're going to deal with him. What? When we're trying to install a brand new culture with a brand new head coach who's never been a head coach before, we're going to do it. Yeah. Now, bonus, the other things that are not good as of right now, we have, in terms of not yet signing people, we have not yet signed a high-impact defensive tackle, right tackle, tight end, wide receiver, and safety, where we have glaring holes in the roster. Now, that's as of right now. It's not over. Like I said earlier, Rondell Moore's in for a visit. That could be part of the wide receiver mix. We could still sign Tyler Conklin. We could still sign Jedrick Wills. We could still sign any number of defensive tackles that are actually decent. And, of course, there's the draft where we're hoping to get at least 2 or 3 impact players, hopefully. But there's still, as of today, glaring holes on the roster: defensive tackle, right tackle, tight end, wide receiver, safety. So we'll have to see. All right, so that's it for the worst signings so far. As of today, March the 18th, 2025. Tomorrow we'll be back with the best signings so far, I think. But let me know what you think about the worst signings we've got in the comments section down below. Please subscribe to the channel. Please leave a like on the channel on this video. And please consider joining the Inner Circle, where you will get exclusive items, including the Frankie from Flatbush theme song. Thank you for joining us from Frankie from Flatbush headquarters, and we will see you next time.
Non-pertinent. How do you log that non-pertinent?
No drug talk?
They use codes to hide their patron phone numbers. And when someone does use a phone, they don't use names. And if someone does use a name, he's reminded not to. All of that is valuable evidence.
Of what?
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy?
We're building something here, Detective. We're building it from scratch. All the pieces matter.